GPs. Since moving to Melbourne, the Australian GP has typically been held as the season opener or as part of the early rounds of the season. While Kimi Räikkönen may have retired, there's still a Kimi in attendance today. Kimi Porter is watching along today from the Senna Grandstand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to Division 2 for some racing around Albert Park Circuit in Melbourne, Australia. Tonight we've got Division 2 Round 2 for what is going to be an entertaining race. Australia is a fantastic track. I mean, of course, you know, we've got had some iconic races. Always brings some unpredictability, excitement. And of course, here in Division 2, we do tend to get some interesting racing indeed. Sun's not quite shining at the moment. Looks like a little bit overcast, so perhaps some weather to come later on in the session. And we've seen a few drivers already going out in order to set some times, get their out laps set, and yeah, let's go racing. I'm excited for this one. Division 2 is usually a bit closer, or not a bit closer, but tends to be quite close and provides some really entertaining moments as well. Albert Park is known for throwing some curveballs, so whether it's the occasional safety car, some unusual tire strategies, or unpredictable conditions, really, that can quickly change the face of the race. So the margins forever are kind of razor thin. Of course, you've got some walls and plenty of gravel traps around the circuit, so mistakes can be costly. So we're going to stick on board with Super Sean, who is going to be the first driver out on track to set a hot lap. And this track is a nice balance of course, we got 3 DRS zones here. Recently been reprofiled, so you have that long back straight now, and of course proves some really kind of better overtaking opportunities. But here we go, on board with Super Sean 23 for the first hot lap of the session. Hurling down into turn 1, want to get a nice early turn in, want to try and abuse that curve too much. He takes kind of a careful approach. DRS open once again, hot lap mode enabled. Coming down into the tricky sector, end of sector 1, I want to say, twisty section. So this track does require a nice balance of straight line speed and high downforce levels as well. Tricky corner there is come onto the long back straight. DRS getting opened any second now. And into a very, very fast chicane indeed. I mean, this chicane, if you see it in person, I mean, I haven't seen it in person, but it is fast indeed. You want to obviously cut that corner as much as possible. Bring the car over to the left-hand side for this 90-degree corner. Not touching too much of the curb there. Running onto the outside curb as well. Oh, as we do have another driver setting a time already. Super Sean, kind of careful into the last penultimate corner there, and coming up to the line very shortly, using that last little burst of overtake. And let's see what time he's going to set. That's an 18.128, so 1,000th of a second quicker than Motion God 20, who has set the first lap of the session. On board with Roberto now as Queasy goes P3 with an 18.2. Roberto a little bit early into that corner, turning in there. But is he going to pick up a little bit of slipstream from the car in front? I don't believe so. I believe he's a little bit too far behind. Roberto goes P6 with a 19.2. Firefly has been a quick driver so far. We know he's got some paces. Nathwani now goes top of the time sheets with an 18.7. 4/10 quicker than Super Sean, and I imagine Firefly is going to be beating that. There we go. He goes to the top with a 17.6. Go on board with Waza now, who is a Division 1 driver. I believe he's racing in both divisions. Waza has definitely showed a bit more consistency this season, so always good to see drivers improving. Little bit of understeer going through that corner there. He's still got the hot lap set to medium, so saving his deployment for that long back straight that we're coming up to in just any second now. Here we go, holding that overtake. Opting to take it off very early, so he's still not in 8th. There we go, he's now into 8th gear. Wanting to gain as much momentum as possible. 3 downshifts there for Waza. Past that corner, overtake on once again. DRS open. Into a tricky right-hander. And coming up to the final couple of corners. Let's see what time Waza is able to set for his first qualifying lap here. And that's going to be a 18.9, so not a terrible lap. I mean, definitely puts him within touching distance of a couple of cars ahead. I mean, as a banker lap, it's not too bad at all. Ooh, as Anga Hamid is on his hot lap and went off the track a little bit there and looks to bail out. Definitely doesn't seem to invalidate there, so I guess he didn't gain enough of an advantage. But we're going to be on board with go on board with Pixel, see what he's got. Car squirming all over the place as he tries to get down the traction. Purple sector 1. That McLaren livery is just so nice, isn't it? A little bit wide on the chicane there, the entry of the chicane, and lifts off, so definitely wanted to carry more speed than that. But I'm sure at the moment, for a banker lap, Pixel won't be too unhappy at the moment. Of course, as the session gets on, you're going to be wanting to progressively better your times, get more confidence in the car, and hopefully climb up those time sheets as well. As we see Pixel out of deployment now, going to be derating once again, and goes P12. So a little bit of a further back than Pixel would perhaps like to have been initially. On board with Anga Hamid now. We'll get lap data on. 44.9 split. Decent run through the chicane there. That's one of the better ones we've seen tonight so far. I believe we saw Epic Toast going P4. Oh no, that was Divine Eye, I believe. Sorry, going P3 with 17.8. A tidy lap from Anga Hamid, and he puts in P5. Solid banker lap for a first lap of the session for Anga Hamid. On board with Ishii 94 now, who I believe had a couple of issues getting into the lobby initially, but good to see him here tonight, and hopefully going to be expecting a solid performance. The hesitancy bit through that corner. That corner is usually flat, depending on setup, of course. It does take the last corner flat out as well. You can hear the engine or the car wanted to have the full traction, but P7 for Ishii, so not too bad at all. Definitely, if he improves by a tenth, he'll be going up to about P4 at the moment if he improves by a tenth. So definitely a good starting point for Ishii there. So just one driver yet to set a lap as we see Barthofer just coming out of the pits for the first time. believe we missed Kevin Slice apparently, sorry, just finishing his hot lap, so he was able to go P1, provisional pole, by about 4/10, almost 4/10, so definitely setting a very competitive lap there for Kevin Slice. And we know Kevin Slice is very quick indeed. He seems to be going for consecutive laps here, unusual qualifying strategy. Oh, he took that corner very, very nicely indeed. To hook up these series of corners very nicely. That was very lovely done indeed. And you can see why he's standing at the moment at the top of the timesheets. Firefly takes P1 again back, and then Kevin Slice beats him straight away. So 3 laps on those tires, I believe, from Kevin Slice, and I guess the fall off isn't too big on those tires. Well, the softs are definitely degrade quite quickly around here. That's interesting that he's able to set that time on those same tires. Epic Toes coming across the line shortly. Let's see if he's able to improve. Does improve by about 3.5 tenths, 3.4 tenths, and goes up into P3 at the moment. So drivers constantly bettering each other, constantly improving on their times. We love to see it. And let's see, I'm sure there's a few drivers down towards the bottom of the grid who will be wanting to improve on their time and get themselves a better starting position for the race. As we see the Bartovor shortly coming up to the line to set his first qualifying time. He puts himself P3, so very, very competitive time. You still want to get around quite quickly if you can. Stick on a new set of boots for that last lap of the session. Stay on board with Nafwani, who is activated his hot lap mode just a little bit early, so he won't have full 100% coming to this back straight here, but let's see what Nafwani can do for his final qualifying lap of the session. A little bit cautious onto the entry of turn 1 there, but gets a decent exit. Needs to improve by a couple of tenths if he's able to catapult himself further up their order for the grid. I'm not sure what that was, or no, it's a little bit of lag spike because the other Aston Martin is in front of him. His teammate maybe wanting to give him a little bit of a slipstream, but not helping him at this moment in time. Perhaps just causing a little bit of distraction actually. He gets out the way, so no slipstream for Nafwani. Gets some nice rotation past that corner there. A little bit of a lift as well, not taking any risks at all. Taking the penultimate corner very nicely indeed. Full overtake towards the line, and let's see what Nafwani is going to do first time. Does improve by a couple tenths, able to go up by 1 position into a provisional P5. But unfortunately he's not going to be able to get round in order to put on a new set of tires. Gets out of the way of his teammate Roberto, or Rogerto, I guess that's supposed to be a beat. Roberto on some fresh tires. Really going to want to see if he can do a little better than P13 at the moment. Couldn't see what his improvement was, if he was improving at all. Choosing to deploy all of his battery down this back straight, so interesting setup. He's going to be losing a lot of power towards the end of the lap, and he is down, unfortunately, by about a tenth and a half, and the hot lap is still on, so perhaps forgetting to turn it off. Oh, there we go, he's just turned it off now. But he will be losing quite a bit of time. We saw he was about a tenth and a half down on his previous time, so going to have a lot of work to do in this final sector in order to improve on his current time of an 18.4. And he doesn't improve, so he's about a tenth down on his previous time, and that is qualifying done for Roberto. On board with Ange Hamid now as well, who's chosen to deploy all of his ERS down this back straight, leaves the overtake on through that corner. Very brave indeed. Oh, I saw he just touched the grass there, unfortunately. Was not able to keep it on track, and so that will be the end of Ange Hamid's qualifying session as well. And I thought Motion got it and was able to improve by about 2.5 tenths just there. So I want to go on board with the Bartow for now. Let's see what he's able to do for his final qualifying lap of the session. Does have some traffic coming up. McLaren keeps out the way very nicely. Took that corner lovely, able to ride the sausage curb, or the curb on the exit there. Looking like a tidy lap indeed so far for the Bartow, and he's up by about a tenth and a half. Took that corner very nicely as well. So I'd improve by a couple tenths in order to get into pole position territory, about a tenth and a half or so. This lap is looking very handy indeed. He's up by 3 tenths, so he's going to be wanting to continue on this form, and that chicane was very nicely done indeed. Come on, the Bartow, I'm rooting for you here, man. I am rooting for you indeed. Hook this lap up, hook this final part of the lap, and put yourself on pole position. And what kind of an improvement is it going to be? Is it going to be pole position? It is going to be pole position. Provisional pole position for the Bartow with a 16.7 on board with Firefly now coming around the final couple of corners. And is he able to have any sort of say to the Bartow's pole position hopes? P2 for Firefly. Expedito is not currently on a lap. He has been validated, unfortunately. On board with Epic Toast now. As well by about a tenth or so. Yep, 3 tenths improvement, so big improvement for Epic Toast. Able to get up, able to improve by 1 position, so P5 provisional start at the moment for Epic Toast. And I think that's all of our drivers now completed the short qualifying session here in Australia. That is your qualifying session here at Albert Park. So congratulations to the Bartow. Definitely look to have some solid pace. And I'm hoping for a competitive race. I mean, you've got the top 3 who seem to be very, very close indeed. So there you have it. Those are your standings for the race. Top 3 separated by 3 or 2.5 tenths, 2 and a bit tenths. Yeah, I mean, it could be interesting to see what the tire choices for the start of the race are going to be. Lots of strategy options here. Is anyone going to be brave and go for the soft tires, build a little bit of a gap, maybe even gain a couple of positions on the start, and then pit early on for the hard tires. I mean, normally we'd see a hard to medium or medium hard strategy. Those are the favored strategies, but I'm excited to see how this plays out. Ooh, and we got a rainy race here. Oh dear. So this is going to be causing some mayhem. Drivers, I'm not sure if they would have seen um, the pre-race analysis, let's just say, for the weather for the race. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone's actually gone brave and stuck on a wet setup. Of course, it's heavily raining at the moment, but we're in Australia tonight, so things can change weather-wise. Hopefully, we get a wet to dry race that would create some very interesting strategy options. Of course, when to pit, when not to pit. I hope we don't have a full wet race because they tend to be a little bit strung out. Of course, the slower lap times, harder to overtake around a circuit that generally brings some good racing. So it would be a shame to see it fully wet. But hey, let's hope it's a wet to dry session. As strategy-wise, the game is suggesting a wet-to-wet strategy, so a one-stop strategy, looking like the strongest one at the moment. And tire choices at the moment, full wets. Oh dear. So this will be very, very interesting to see. I think the drivers were saying in the chat that there is a possibility of some dry running. Um, but of course, everyone would have chosen, or a lot of people I'd imagine would have chosen the dry setups. Not many people on this game have wet setups saved. So interesting to see how this one plays out. There's a big gap in the formation lap. Queasy taking his time warming up his tires. Hopefully he wasn't on AI mode. We already got the front two who are lining up into their grid spots for the start of this race. Last driver is coming around the final corner now. Ludark. And we have one disqualification of Ludark. Sorry, not Ludark, Epic Toast, who was unable to line up correctly in his grid spots. And everyone else, apart from DJ Lawson, seems to have done so as well.
F1 has produced no shortage of drivers over the years.
I'll go on board with Firefly for the start of the race. We've got 5 red lights. And we are go, 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 go here tonight in Albert Park. I believe there was a slow start off the line there, but down into turn one, looking like they're side by side. Are we gonna have some clean racing? Yes, we are. The Bartover able to hold on, but not for long, as Firefly gets a nice move down the outside there. Both drivers holding the overtake button. Who's going to brake later? Oh, as Kev the Slice forcing his way through. In the up into the lead temporarily. Around the outside, lovely move, giving each other plenty of room. And we've had 2 lead changes in the first couple of corners already. So already we've seen plenty of people gaining 3 positions in the midfield with Queasy, Waza, Roberto, DJ Lawson, all gaining 3 positions. Biggest loser so far is Ahmed Ahmed, so he won't be too happy with his start at the moment. And boy, with Queasy, is there an overtaking opportunity here? Drivers definitely have to be cautious on this opening lap, as Queasy seems to go a little bit wide. Is Waza going to make a move? Oh, he gets blocked off by Queasy. Just says, no, you are not passing, and very late braking from Waza indeed. Lovely move down the inside. Gives him a squeeze, and unfortunately he's at the wall. Queasy, I think, was just hooked onto his tire at the back there, and we see our first safety car, a virtual safety car, on lap 1. So after a very hectic start to the race, we are now coming to a little bit of a calm period, and hopefully no driver is going to speed under the safety car and pick up a drive-through penalty. Waza unfortunately picked up some wing damage, it seems, from that move, and it's going to have his wings changed, sticking on a fresh set of wet tires as well. And he's going to get the benefit of it, but of course he will be at the back of the pack with a bit of a gap to the driver in front of him. So difficult situation for Waza there. Really unfortunate, after a lovely move was made. Perhaps could have given a little bit more room on the exit of that corner in order to really kind of minimize any potential for any contact. And unfortunately he came off worse from it, and Queasy, of course, DNFing as a result of that move as well. He looks like it's going to be staying on for at least a little bit longer, and we're green racing. Oh, as Expedito picks up a 3-second time penalty already on lap 2 of the race. I mean, I assume we're going to be seeing a few more of those. Oh, a big send from the Williams driver of Ishii. I saw him coming from a long way back, unable to get the move done, unfortunately, but that was a big send indeed. Red Bull driver of Super Sean behind, kind of trying to pick his moment. He is within touching distance of the car ahead. Very tricky conditions here at Albert Park tonight. And Nathawani is going to get the move done on Expedito. Looks like it. Potentially the Expedito is fighting back with the use of his ERS, and Nathawani braking extremely late there. Very well done to get that move nice and locked up. And he's got a little bit of work to close up to the back of Epic Toast. He's already come within improvement of a couple tenths. Has a little bit of a moment on that exit there, but he's going to be wanting to do everything he can to close up to the cars in front. As we see Kev the Slice out in front now, building a nice gap. So 1.5 seconds at the moment, using his tires and wanting to build up as much of a gap as possible. And I think we've seen someone have an off. I believe it might have been Divine Eye, and there is a big gap at the moment. Missed an overtake from Nathawani, or Expedito on Nathawani. You see Super Sean perhaps going down the inside. Lovely braking there from Super Sean. Is he able to keep it on track? Yes, he is. We did see Nathawani going off track temporarily there, but that was through no fault of Super Sean. Very tricky braking. We see drivers locking up all over the shop. Lapwani has his overtake still on, so perhaps that's why he could be struggling with his traction. Oh, we've got a move done with the Barthofer and Firefly coming down into this tricky corner. Firefly has the inside, but the Barthofer just breaks later and says that corner is mine. Lovely wheel-to-wheel racing through this section. Got to be very careful through here. A little bit of a lift. Squeezes him, but plenty of room on the outside there. Very well done between these two drivers. And we've got Epic Toast watching this battle very closely from behind. Wanting to pick his moment. Oh, look at the straight line speed he's got. Looks like he's a little bit lower on the wings compared to Firefly in front of him. Board with Ishii fighting his teammate Expedito. Is he going to go around the outside? Opting to fight another day. He gets a much better exit than the car in front of Expedito. Is he going to make a move into this corner? There's a bit of a gap now. 3 seconds from Kevin Slice to the Barthofer behind. So he's absolutely flying in these wet conditions. Absolutely thriving. A little bit of a tap on his teammate from Expedito. No team orders here. See Ishii absolutely hustling the car right around that corner. Back on board with Epic Toast now. A little bit low on fuel, so perhaps going to be wanting to do some fuel saving, or I'd imagine we could see another safety car or a virtual safety car, so not a bad option to go a little bit lower on fuel, as we do see some quite regular safety cars around, or just in general in Divine Eye Racing, Division 2 especially. Safety cars are not uncommon at all, as we see Epic Toast lining up a move. Doesn't seem to have quite the straight line speed to get past Epic Toast. Both drivers using their overtake mode in order to defend and attack from the car in front and the car behind, respectively. A little bit of a look, fakes the move back onto the racing line. Epic Toast doing a really good job of keeping Firefly honest, having to look behind, having to look at his mirrors and watch out for where he is. Ooh, nearly losing the car there. You saw him fighting it on the steering wheel there. But the rain seems to have eased up quite a bit. I mean, the track is still looking pretty wet, of course. But we got fastest lap from the Barthofer on lap 6, so that indicates that the track conditions are getting a little bit better. So are we going to see someone take a gamble and go onto the intermediate tires, get a little bit of an undercar on the cars ahead before we eventually and hopefully get to dry conditions? Waza now setting the fastest lap. Of course, he's got the freshest tires out of everyone after pitting on lap 1. Waza only 5 seconds behind Mohammed now at the back of the grid. Over Super Sean, thinking about a move on Ishii, keeping him honest as well. And we've seen the gap from Kevin Slice to Barthofer closing down. It was about 3.5 seconds, I believe. Now down to about 2.4, so that indicates perhaps Kevin Slice had a little bit of a moment somewhere, or the Barthofer's pace is just improving. Ooh, very cutting across there. We do have some contact. A little bit, Super Sean outbraking himself slightly, and I think we're down to interconditions. We're seeing a couple of drivers into the pits for some intermediate tires. Absolutely, it is inter time here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going going to be interesting to see. Does Kev the Slice come out in some free air? Pixel Cookie picking up a time penalty for speeding to the pits. And crucially, Kev the Slice has come out in for some free air. So that is absolutely vital for him not to be stuck in any traffic. He'll most likely be getting a bit of an undercut on the cars ahead now. Ooh, as Epic Toast is really putting some pressure on Firefly. It looks like he might need to get this overtake done in the corners, because he just doesn't seem to have the straight line speed. He's not deploying, and Firefly is in hot lap mode, so able to stay ahead down the straights for the moment. That was very nicely done through that corner, almost pushing Firefly through. And Firefly covering off the inside, just blocking it. Absolutely, he will not pass. Who brakes latest? And I think he's going to get moved on. No, it's not. He's not indeed. He is not. Nathwani on those intermediate tires. Ishii as well. Up ahead. Oh, the momentum. Unfortunately, lost all momentum there for Nathwani. He's setting up the move very nicely. Lead on Ishii ahead. Super Sean, Expedito, Epic Toast, and Firefly all into the pits now. And look at that undercut from Kev the Slice. That is almost a whole pit stop with an undercut. I want to say that's a good 10-15 seconds to the cars behind. Bartova are still keeping within kind of touching distance, 2.3. So they both pitted the same lap. And Epic Toast now out of the pits. Still onto the back of Firefly, so some nice battles happening around the various areas of the track at the moment. Yeah, this is the closest battle on track, I believe. The Bartova is really closing in on Kev the Slice. I mean, that time is coming down. I mean, it was at 2.3 last time I checked in. Now to 1.9, so soon he's going to be able to see the car in front of him. That's always a motivating factor once you can see the car. Yep, there you can see it now. Ishii now fighting with Anga Hamid, gets past Roberto, picking up a time penalty as well, and unfortunately for Anga Hamid, he's still on those wet tires, so the cars definitely have much more grip. It does come into the box in order to get off those tires. I'd imagine they'd be overheating quite a decent amount. So Epic Toast as well into the pits, onto the intermediate tires, and just the one driver at the moment. Actually, never mind, he's in the pits. So Mohammed, Egyptian King, getting off those wet tires. It's into time, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, as we see, oh, never mind, a bit of lag. Epic Toast, I thought he went off the track there, but seems to have been a little bit of a game glitch. One good thing about being in wet conditions is that you're able to recharge the battery a little bit better, as, oh, Nathwani had a very good run coming out the corner, took the corner a lot better than Ishii. And which way is he going to defend, inside or outside? Ishii braking very late there. Really had a little bit of a tank swapper on the exit of that corner, but able to keep it on track. As Kev the Slice and the Bartova trading fastest laps here on lap 10 of this Australian Grand Prix. Divine Eye Racing Division 2. Nice battle for P4 going on here between these three drivers, Ishii, Nathwani, and Expedito. looks, the way that the rain is easing up, it looks like that we could have some dry conditions running here tonight, which would obviously spice things up even more strategy-wise. I mean, hypothetically speaking, if Fritz goes to lap 18 and then it turns dry, we're looking at some mediums for the end, maybe even some softs if you're brave. But Expedito looking like he's carrying some much more speed into these corners compared to the two drivers up ahead. As we see Nathwani going for a move. Both drivers braking extremely late, and look at a bit of a switch back from Nathwani there. Not quite able to pull it off. Ishii defending very well into that corner, braking very late, and taking a wide line on the exit. Kevin Slice, fastest lap of the race. He is dropping the bar over slightly now. That gap did come down to about 1.8, I believe it was, now back up to 2.8. We're going to see a move from Epic Toast on Pixel Cookie. No deployment. Oh, yeah, here we go. Some deployment from Pixel Cookie. And, oh, sorry, from Epic Toast. And decides not to go for it into that corner. Wanted to set it up here, perhaps a little bit better. Doesn't get quite the exit that he was looking for, but does have a little bit more battery compared to the driver in front. That track does look like it's drying up very nicely. The rain hasn't quite stopped yet. But I think the way that it's going, we're not too far away. As Waza now picks up a time penalty as Expedito runs into the wall, unfortunately. Hopefully no wind damage there for him. We do have 5 drivers with time penalties, of course, and that will play a factor. As Kevin Slice with another fastest lap of the race, and that gap is only getting up a little bit more and more by the corner. As we see Expedito trying to pull a move down the inside, very ambitious move. Doesn't quite make the apex, goes off track unfortunately. Hopefully to rejoin safely. That was nearly a devastating moment for Nathwani's race. I might have seen his eyes, his life flash before his eyes there. Waiting for a move on Divine Eye. Divine Eye, who has more battery, keeping it nice and tidy. He's in none at the moment, so definitely not going to have the top speed that is needed in order to make an overtake into this sequence of corners. He is on younger tires though, compared to the driver ahead by 1 lap, so that does make a little bit of a difference. We want to do everything we can to recharge battery. There you can see it's still in none. So gearing up for an attack later on, perhaps once you recharge for the remainder of this lap and then attack once again. Bartofor hits back with the fastest lap of his own and able to get that delta down to 2.8 now, so ebbing and swaying here, there, and everywhere between Kevin Slice and the Bartofor. Who's close up to Ishii as well. Doesn't have as much DRS as the driver has. It gives him a little bit of a tap. That was a bit of a dangerous situation. Ishii perhaps struggling at the moment. He needs to brake a little bit early for that corner. Expedito Having a moment of oversteer there. Kev the Slice hits back once again. So nice battle between these two going on. Are we going to see a move way up here from Nafwani? No. Gave him a little bit of a fake, and Epic Toast now with the fastest lap. So some pace out of nowhere from Epic Toast. I mean, he seems to be holding off Roberto behind him quite well. Maybe had to use some battery in a defensive matter. This little battle here between these three drivers is proving to be the main factor of entertainment here. I mean, we have Divine Eye Racing being the first driver to gamble onto a set of hard tires, and Divine Eye has retired with the pits, or no, he has retired on track, so a little bit of a moment coming out of the pits, unfortunately, but that is a full course safety car, which is a good thing. It's going to be bringing the track closer together as we see Kev the Slice and Bartofer into the pits. Firefly is going to opt to come into the pits. Might as well get some fresher rubber on. Is she going to be staying out? Bartofer on medium tires. Kev the Slice gone onto inters. So what the weatherman, I wonder what the weatherman is saying in terms of, is this race going to be, oops, there's a little moment from the Bartofer there. Is this race going to be going completely dry? But this could be an absolutely fantastic play from the Bartofer here. If he's able to kind of keep it on track, we can see he's having a little bit of a struggle at the moment. But if the rain's going to be stopping in the next couple of laps, this could be an absolutely big rain play. And we see Pizza Cookie also making a gamble on the hard tires. So 2 drivers so far. 3 drivers. Anga Hamid, 4 drivers. Waza as well. So of course, with the pack closing up behind the safety car now, we're going to see the pack closing up, penalties being more in play. Of course, we see 5 drivers, I believe it was, with time penalties, unless someone has got their penalty removed. And we're seeing more and more drivers pit for some dry compound tires, some mediums, some hards. No one opting for the softs at this moment in time. But the drivers on the dry compounds are going to be really wanting for the safety car to go out for a couple more laps or stay on track for a couple more laps, and the rain to be easing up as soon as possible. They need that Australian sunshine to come through as soon as possible. As the Bartofer has opted to come in again, so is not feeling those dry tires at all. Oh, now that Bartofer was obviously challenging for P2, he's at some really good pace, and now with that little bit of a mistake in the pit stops phase, has come out in P11. Crucially coming out ahead of those other dry compound tires behind him. Waza coming into the pits as well, so a little bit of a recon on those medium tires. Saw the grip wasn't there, now opting to go for some fresher medium inter tires. So there's a few cars ahead of him who are on 1 lap old inter tires. Of course, a couple of hard tire runners in front of him as well, but this rain seems to be holding out, so I wonder if it's going to go all the way until the end of the race. It looks like it. Ooh, and as he cuts that corner there, that will be a warning, I'm sure, and that's definitely not something you want to be doing under safety car conditions, just picking up track limits warnings. We see a couple of drivers towards the front now, Ishi, Nathwani and Expedito, opting not to come in and change their tires, not for some fresh rubber. So 9 laps worth of wear, 8 laps in Expedito's case. Could prove to be quite a significant tire differential to the cars behind. I mean, Firefly on 1 lap holds Inters, and we know he has some pace. So hopefully he's able to clear the cars in front of him quite quickly. Hopefully we see some fair racing, fair defending, and hopefully he's able to challenge Kevin Slice in front, because at the moment what it's going to look like is Kevin Slice is going to absolutely fly away from Ishi behind on those fresher tires. See the last 2 cars trying to close up to the back of the pack. I imagine they're able to do so before the end of sector 2, probably not, so I'd imagine we're going to have 1 more lap behind the safety car. Oh no, never mind, safety car in this lap, so hopefully Kevin Slice is kind enough to allow the Ferrari of Blue Dark and Mohammed, or Egyptian King, to close up to the back of the pack before he puts pedal to the metal and floors it for the safety car restart. That is your teammate at the back of the grid, so if you want to be kind, obviously allowing your teammate to close up and be in a better position for the race would be the sensible thing to do, let's just say. As we see the drivers weaving, trying to get some tire temperature ahead of the safety car restart. Of course, tire temperature on safety car restarts is crucial, and we do see Kevin Slice putting pedal to the metal, kind of. As an 8/10 gap already, 7/10, so decent restart there from Kevin Slice. Closest driver is Super Sean. You can see a little bit too far back to consider me. And we see Anga Hamid struggling on these hard tires, and unfortunately he's lost a bunch of positions on this restart, and these hard tires are just not working. Look at how much later Waza was able to brake there in that situation. And I imagine we're going to see Egyptian King making a move on Pixapoki fairly quickly as well. Having to be held up a little bit through these section of corners. Yeah, be careful into that braking zone. Yeah, but he's losing a bunch of time behind Pixel now. We see Expedito and Nathwani proving some very, very nice racing. That was a lovely move from Expedito. And the Bartofor has picked up a time penalty now, unfortunately. So maybe perhaps getting a little bit frustrated. You'll see a bit of a switchback. No, we are not. And Super Sean gets some fantastic traction off that corner. Having to take a really tight, narrow line into that braking zone, and unfortunately not able to make use of the traction that he had on that instance on Roberto. And of course he's got so much fresher tires. And we're going to see a move as they go side by side down the pit straight. And lovely move done there for Super Sean. Someone has gone off towards the back. We're had a little bit of a moment. We did have some temporary yellow flags. But Firefly is really going to want to get a move on and try and clear the cars in front of him. He's got so much fresher tires. He's already built a gap to the car behind. As we see Williams coming off track there. Oh, lovely move down the inside there. That could have been tears. That could have ended in tears. But Expedito had a little bit of a moment, unfortunately. Causing, as we see some... Oh, that is always going to end badly. Both drivers luckily able to survive that one. And Firefly really pushing the limits here in order to try and get this move done. Three-way battle at the moment. Hopefully, oof, that was some sketchy racing there for a moment. Definitely could have been a tragic moment indeed. But Firefly able to clear a couple of drivers in a series of corners, and Epic Toast losing out competitions as well. We're seeing Kevin Slice absolutely fly away with this one. Of course, he's got the freshest, or one of the freshest tires on the grids, and the cars behind unfortunately did not. But we do see the rain has pretty much stopped, so I do wonder if we're going to see some dry running. And look at that, it is almost no rain out on track, so I'd imagine we're going to see a couple of drivers taking a gamble and going onto some soft tires towards the end. Expedito was able to carry some really good speed through that corner, and I'd imagine DRS actually might be activated fairly soon. Very good closing speed there from Expedito, and Nathwani able to just about keep it on track. This has been actually a pretty solid race from Epic Toast so far as well. This is the penalty situation, so actually plenty of drivers have got 3-second penalties. Unfortunately, Bartova has picked up a penalty himself. He has got the freshest tires, and we do see a bunch of drivers coming into the pits. Firefly, oh, Firefly, why? I mean, was he tapped from behind, maybe? I don't think so. But plenty of drivers coming in for some tire changes. Wow, look at that. The top, I want to say 13, changing their tires. Actually, every driver has changed their tires apart from the two hard runners that we had, and Pixelcookie actually has benefited from that, but of course he's going to have drivers around him on much quicker tires, and we do see DRS has been enabled. DRS was enabled for Super Sean halfway down that straight there, and Pixelcookie trying to force his way through. He does have the warmer tires at the moment. Oh, blocks off Super Sean very nicely indeed. Super Sean will be able to get past. I don't believe Pixelcookie will have DRS on this straight, so this should be an easy move. Taps him, unfortunately, just a little bit, so hopefully no damage picked up there. Look at how quickly he's able to close in. Super Sean has some fantastic straight line speed. Is he going to get the move down to the sequence of corners, the chicane? And he does indeed, as... Oh, Super Sean did, Pixelcookie did challenge him on the exit there, but some decent racing. Look at this wheel-to-wheel racing. Pixelcookie diving deep, and unfortunately taps the rear and is spun around in the process. I mean, that was a very risky move indeed from Pixelcookie. Firefly, a little bit of a moment there as Nathwani goes through. And Ludark is the last driver to pit. From those interiors, he's going to come out right towards the back of the grid, I'd imagine, in P15. And Ishii now picks up a time penalty for his woes. Oh, Oh, don't make the move here. Don't make the move here. A little bit of a switchback attempt. That is very nicely done. He's able to hold it around the outside. That would most likely be a track limits warning, but you want to get the move done after this. What happened there? I'm not sure if he let him go on purpose, but that could be a big brain play. I think it's incredibly hard to break the DRS around this track, of course, with 3 DRS zones, because you see a move into the chicane around the outside. Oh, locking tires. A bit of a dicey one there, but there's chaos all around. This issue seemed to lose out there, I believe it was. Super Sean considering a move down the inside, but had to think better of it. Bartofor now on. DJ Lawson has kept the slice now. Sets the fastest lap once again. He's got 12-second gap to the car behind, so absolute domination for him. There's Waza. Now makes a move. And the Bartofor, what happened to him? Oh, he's spun around, unfortunately, so I didn't catch that, unfortunately, but all the progress that he made is now worth nothing. Virtual safety car, and it looks like a full safety car actually, as the safety car is actually just exiting the pits, so it's going to be interesting to see if we have any tire changes. Drive-through penalty for Pixel for speeding under the safety car. So this will once again allow the field, the pack to close back up once again. Penalties are, look at the penalties that we've got. We've got a lot of penalties all around, so plenty of drivers unable to keep within the track limits here around Australia. I mean, it is a tricky track, lots of areas where you can extend track limits around this track, so you can't blame the drivers for, and Kevin slow down quite a bit there. The gap was like 12 seconds and it came down to about 1. So I'm not sure what he's doing there, but he could have had the chance to pit for some fresh tyres, but opted not to. We do see Expedito and Pixel coming into the pits. I mean, I'd imagine that is pretty much race over for Pixel, but he is opting to stay in. Goes for another set of medium tyres. Expedito going for some hards, so interesting choice. Oh, never mind, he has retired in the pits. Should have perhaps 5 laps of racing. I would imagine the safety car would come in at the end of next lap, so 4 laps of racing actually. And Expedito's had enough, he has left the session. GG's, try again next week unfortunately. Oh, Waza, what have you done? Severe collision with DJ Lawson, so perhaps run into the back of him. Has he got damage? Has he got any damage? Yep, he has an end plate missing. His front left end plate. So that would have been a very severe collision indeed. Unfortunately, probably just not paying attention on the safety car, which I have been a victim of many a time before. Need to get that wing changed and runs over that curb for the to add some pain there, and we see Moshe. Oh no, that was just Waza, the Bartopor, also in the pits with some pressure tires. Waza with a massive 23 seconds penalties, so not quite sure what he's doing, but he's going to get rid of the 10 seconds right now. Pixel, of course, having to wait in the pits. Oh dear. That is painful. For a full 10-second penalty as well. He had to almost serve another penalty and the wing change as well, so Pixel, I mean, we're under safety car conditions, luckily, but yeah, that is never nice, having to wait behind your teammate. But Nathawani here in actually a very solid position to get the race win on Kevin Slice if he's able to stick within DRS. I mean, Kev has shown some unreal pace here tonight, and hopefully Nathawani is able to stick within that DRS after the safety car restart and give a challenge to Kev, who's mostly been unchallenged for the majority of this race. And Firefly has left the session. Oh, he was already DNF'd, unfortunately. Safety car in this lap, so the two McLarens at the back have a lot of work to do to catch up to the back of the pack. But the freshest tires, Bartopor and Waza at the back, of course, had to get his wing changed. But here we go as we are getting ready to go racing once again. This is Kevin Slice going to allow the two McLarens at the back to close up. If it's anything like his last safety car restart, he's going to be going pretty quickly, and Roberto has picked up a 10-second penalty for a severe collision. Hamid creating a bit of a gap, a 2-second gap to the car in front. Not sure why you'd want to do that. As we are racing one more time for the final time here in Divine Eye Racing round 2. You still see those soft tires have still got plenty of grip, but Nathawani has got the benefit of the slipstream at the moment, so he's able to kind of stay within 5/10 at the moment. It's down to 4, but those medium tires are absolutely going to be the better tire to be on from here to the end of the race. Let's see if he's able to challenge for the win. Of course, we've got Ishii, Epic Toast following closely behind, but do have those time penalties to contend with. It's all between Nathawani and Kevin Slice, who's able to save their battery a little bit better. At the moment in time, Nathawani has more battery to play with. Gonna want to take his time as much as he can. Doesn't get the best exit out of that corner. Having to use a little bit of the ERS mode in order to keep up and gain that momentum back that he lost. But Nathawani could be trembling. It could be his first win here in Divine Eye Racing. He needs to keep that composure until the first DRS activation point. As we see Ishii, who would have lost the car a little bit there, lost a couple of positions unfortunately. Super Sean now with the fastest lap of the race. Nathawani wanted to put Kevin Slice off his line just a little bit there, lost a little bit of momentum. But don't get the move done here. Wanted to get it done for the DRS zone. Build a little bit of a gap to the cars behind, but they have actually now managed to close back up. It is just hovering underneath, just over that 1 second that they need for the DRS activation. Epic Toast is not using any of his DRS, so it is a fight between these two. Emotion Guard picks up another time penalty for his woes. 6 seconds now for him. So we can see Nathawani going all the way around the outside, using a little bit of an overtake to get that move done. And he's going to have a double dose of DRS once again. But as I mentioned earlier on, it is incredibly hard. It's pretty much impossible to break the DRS around this track. And actually, I think I said 3 DRS zones, but we actually have 4. And we have a big crash towards the back. It looks like Mohammed retiring from the session. I think one other driver might as well. No, I think it was just Mohammed just by himself. I mean, perhaps Pixel was involved in that, but Nathwani getting some incredible momentum off that corner, able to build the gap up to about 7/10, but of course Kev Slice does have the use of ERS and DRS to close right back up again. Epic Toast is in this fight, Super Sean is in this fight as well for a podium position. Of course, the driver in front of him, Epic, does have a 3-second time penalty at the moment. Keep it within track limits, boys. Keep it within track limits. DJ Lawson now picking up a time penalty. But unfortunately, I think that was quite a big moment as Motion God absolutely flies around the outside. Both drivers of Kevin Slice and Nathwani have similar levels of ERS to play with going into the final lap of the race. Who is going to come out on top? And for Nathwani, being in that position for your first race win is always a scary one. He's got to stay composed, he's still got to stay cool, not use too much of his ERS at the moment as Kevin Slice comes away with the fastest lap of the race at the moment, coming to the final lap of the race. Staying within track limits very nicely. He's saving his ERS, does have a little bit more than Nathwani at this moment in time. He's going to want to get that move done in that first DRS activation zone. Within 5/10 of the moment. Nathwani was not using any of it there. 6/10 is a big gap to close in, but he's got a lot of ERS to play with. Gets a decent exit, better exit than Nathwani. Nathwani's burning all of his ERS as well, so perhaps he's going to want to save a little bit for the second zone. Does have a little bit more to play with than Nathwani. He's a really good exit out of here. Gets a really good exit, and is he able to close it to the back? Nathwani's out of ERS, goes defensive on the inside. Can he make the move around the outside? Yes, he can. Is Nathwani able to fight back? No, he is not. But there is one DRS zone up until the line to contend with. Needs late braking, needs a good couple of corners here from Nathwani. Doesn't get the traction down, you can hear the car on that medium TC, full TC, not able to get it down. It's going to be really close, within 1/10 of each other to the line. And Super Sean picked up a time penalty, did he there? It's because he did not have one initially. But a huge congratulations to Kevin Slice. That was a fantastic battle between Kevin Slice and Nathwani right to the end of the line. 1/10 separates the top two drivers. That was absolutely epic. Oof. Super Sean finishing P4, Epic Toast in P3. So I think Super Sean might have had a little bit of a moment, or either picked up a time penalty towards the end, and unfortunately that would be incredibly unfortunate for him, because he was there within touching distance of a podium. DJ Lawson picks up P5, Ishii in P6, Motion God P7. Bartopher, unfortunately, after dominating early on, or not dominating, but was on for a solid P2 finish, chose the wrong tires and had to pit once again for a set of soft compound tires. Inter compound tires. He had to switch to the Inters, and unfortunately that put him down the grid. He also had a time penalty to contend with, so that is your race tonight. Division 2, round 2 here around Australia. It was an epic one. I hope everyone in the chat had a great time watching. I definitely had a great time commentating. So thank you to everyone. Big congratulations to Kev the Slice. As we see the Ferrari team celebrating their driver with the win. Started from P3, 3 stops, fastest lap. Can't really get much more, can't really ask for much more, can you, Kev the Slice? Congratulations also to Nathwani, who started from P6 on the grid and came out with a P2 finish within 1/10 of the race win. Super Sean and DJ Lawson coming up from 15th on the grid to finish in a P5, very respectable indeed. Also, Blue Dark able to climb up 9 positions into a P9 finishing position, pick up some solid points. So that is your race tonight for Australia Division 2. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. I hope you have a great evening, and we'll be back with our regular programming next week once again. I've been Servilliers. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have a great evening.